Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to Sofa ChitChat. And this episode, I am the host. I'm Jacklyn Kuah, the Artistic Director of NCC. And for today, we are featuring Peggy Ferroa. She is an arts educator and advocate. She has been volunteering with the Singapore Drama Educators Associations for like 13 years and holding key positions for more than over 8 years. And of course, her current practice is very interesting. She works with communities like seniors, special needs, end of life, and even with inmates to prepare them for social reintegration. So now, without further ado, let us welcome Peggy Ferroa.
Thank you. What a wonderful introduction. But thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for agreeing to come over. Because I know you very long ago. We met at a workshop. Actually, it's also about work with community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we saw each other again at one of the lectures.
That's right.
Yeah, and I know that you did mention with one of our conversations. You talk about artists. You said there are two kinds of artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you elaborate on that?
I've been reflecting on what we do as artists, and I've basically categorized it into kind of two areas. One is the artist who does work for the sake of making new art.
Yes.
All right, like creating new pieces, exploring how the art form can go in a different direction. But the other set of artists actually want to use the art form to work with communities. How can they move communities? How can they help in education? How they can help in mindset change, behavioral change, and to bring up social issues that they want to discuss more publicly.
Yes.
Because I think with art, going in as a very soft approach, many things can be done, and many conversations that are very important have to happen.
Yes, and I think, Peggy, you have done a lot in this part.
I would like to think so.
Yeah, especially when we talk about the Singapore Drama Educators Association. Yeah. I actually thought that you were the founding members because you were with them from the very beginning. You told me, right, your registration number was number 2. Why? I mean, it's a new association. It just started. Why would you be rushing to sign up for it? It must be some importance and reason for you to do that.
Yeah. I think the work of drama educators at the time was very broad and very loose. It was people just going in to do drama sessions, CCA, extracurricular activities in schools.
Yeah.
At that time, it was very popular to send your child on a weekend for speech and drama classes, for example. And so we felt that, something has to happen. We have to come together, talk about our practice, kind of improve ourselves, and set some kind of industry standard. And I thought that was a very important move to make for freelancers especially. Because I could see that in time to come, people are going to ask, really? You do that for a living? And I say yes, because even until today, a lot of people are shocked that I would make my whole career of more than 25 years just doing drama and theatre. Not in the sense of getting on stage and performing for people, but actually more in the back seat, working in classrooms, working in the communities. And I thought, okay, if we can come together and just share practice and improve ourselves, why not? So I signed up for it. And then as a member, and then slowly they invited me to sit on the committee, which I thought, that's a huge step to take. But I think that was when I grew as an educator and as a person in the corporate world very quickly. In an association like the Singapore Drama Educators Association, right, SDEA, you have to do everything yourself, right? Because you are, a team of maybe 12 people.
Okay.
You've got to think of programs to engage your own peers. You've got to think of programs to engage people who don't understand about drama education. You've got to create big ticket items like festivals to get everyone excited, to spread the word of how drama can be used. And then you've got to do things like marketing, write reports, think of different kinds of evaluation, and kind of speak a different language, a language that people outside of drama education can understand, the corporate speak, which I think artists have to do more of, because we are at a very beautiful position where we can actually bridge corporates, the community, and artists. So we have to speak the languages of the three parties to be able to sustain our work, to make meaning of our work, and to make our work go a lot deeper and further.
Yeah. Oh, this is definitely very difficult. As an artist myself, it's very difficult to speak the corporate language.
Absolutely.
It's totally something new that you are learning to do. And during your time with SDEA volunteering there, you actually started a few very important initiatives, like the Code of Professional Educators, the drama.
No, it was a Code of Professional Conduct.
Yeah.
Because I felt that I looked around at all the professions. I mean, if you want to be a lawyer, you uphold to a certain code.
Yes.
A doctor, a dentist. And if I want to be as professional as any one of them in my field, I've got to latch onto something. We've all got to believe in the same set of principles that we operate or we practice in. And so I did a lot of research. I invited people, someone who was completely out of my field, someone who was looking at ethics in engineering, ethics in afterlife care, ethics in a professional setting, in different kinds of professional settings. And I tried to compare what they did and what we did. And it was like, oh, this is ridiculous, because we operate in a very different way. And so I decided that let's do it this way, because we should be engaging in three areas. One in the classroom, one in our practice, and one with stakeholders. So I think we need to have kind of a set of conduct for these three areas. Of course, a lot of them spread across all three areas, but I think it's important for us to, at the back of the mind, when we go into class, to be responsible, to know that once you stand in front of the class, it's a moral obligation to do something good. Because you're in a seat of power, you're in a seat of getting the information right. You're in the place of transforming someone's thinking, someone's behavior. And so you can't go in and just unprepared, for one, unresearched, or not knowing who you are meeting for the first time. So I think all these are very important things that we need to consider in anything we do, especially as educators. Of course, in the practice with our peers, how do you now share expertise with your peers and make sure that what you're giving is correct, is rigorous, and can help the industry or the profession grow further? And of course, the third are people who don't know the art form at all. What kind of language do you use to bridge their understanding? How much deeper can you ask them to go further in thinking about art beyond the art form? But how art can move people to change certain beliefs, to change certain mindsets, and to think about social change and social justice. And I think that's an important conversation we should all have as well.
Yes, this is actually very, very important nowadays, because we are living in a society that is like you have a lot of economic activities going on. You have arts activities going on, but they are not communicating.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this is something that we want to work on as well. And also, other than that, you also started the scholarship, Christmas.
Oh, an initiative. Okay, so in SDA, what we did was we decided that in order to grow, we have to help others grow as well. So a very dear friend and colleague of ours, Tina Sargent, passed away quite suddenly.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do something for her in her memory, because she always struck me as someone who was like on the go. And her style of work kind of represented everyone in the industry. You would ask her, Tina, would you be able to do this? And the first thing she does is she whips out her diary and she says, I can do this day, this day, this day. Put me down. And so that spirit of giving, that spirit of generosity, of wanting to do more for others and wanting to grow the professional development of an educator kind of stuck with me. And I said, if we had a chance, why not we start this initiative called the Tina Sargent Professional Development Grant. I cannot remember the name. I think it's, why not call it the Tina Sargent Professional Initiative? And if anyone who feels that you want to kind of do professional development under the auspices of SDEA, then we will help fund that professional growth. And so things that will fall under SDEA, like for example, we are our conferences, our workshops where we bring in artists from overseas, even our own homegrown continuing education and development courses, we would subsidize if they can't afford it. And it's always up for grabs.
How did you fund this? Where did this money come from?
I can't remember actually. I think we decided that we would actually kind of put aside a certain amount of money for professional development, and that was it. Our funds came from membership fees. It came from the takings from our workshops, our conferences, our events. It came in from donations. And so we set aside a certain amount so that every year there would be some money dedicated to the professional development of drama educators. And so, like, for example, now, I think the SDA has got like donation drives, and every year I would try and give like a certain amount of money only for this. The rest I will give, but I would rather give some money to this fund so that the younger artists who are coming out, who are struggling, especially in these times, would be able to go for some sort of professional development.
So at the point of time when you started these initiatives, was SDA already under the major grant scheme?
No, I think at that time, SDA was not under any. I don't think we had any kind of major grants at that time. I cannot remember. I really cannot remember. I think it was under seed grant, and maybe under I really cannot remember. So don't quote me.
Okay. So, but it is like what you remember mainly are from the membership fees and donations. It's like that would be the major part. Right. But right now, actually, SDE is really under the major company grants, and it is. It started from a volunteer group. Volunteer group. So everyone are just going there, volunteering their time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and now I'm sure there are some full-time staff there.
Yes, that's right.
There are some full-time staff there. Yeah. What are with all this, like, it's a big milestone to be finally you are recognized by the National Arts Council to get a major company grant, and then you are a charity. The SDA is a charity now. So, like, what are like the major hurdles and difficult challenges that you have to overcome, especially when your time with them?
I think during my time, I speak for myself.
Yes.
I didn't work alone. I worked with a team of quite wonderful people at the time who really dedicated their time. And I think the thing I remember sacrificing the most was my time. With any program that went out, whether it was a workshop, whether it was a festival, and we would invite foreign speakers to come and foreign practitioners to come, what I really do is to look at my own schedule. I mean, it's really scary. And I say to myself, okay, if this one doesn't turn up, how can I step in? And that was really the biggest chunk of my life taken out. Because I think when you talk about volunteering and sacrifice, you have to think that deep and that wide. Because it's not about, I can volunteer, I can sell 10 tickets, I can move the tables and chairs. We don't need that. We need people to be able to step in and drive. And if you don't step in and drive, then you will hit nowhere. And I feel anyone who's sitting on a committee, anyone who's in a leadership role should seriously think about these things. Yes, as a leader, you want to be able to support those under you to shine. And that's why you push them to shine, but that safety net must be you.
Yeah.
It has to be you.
There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it has to be you, because then who? You can't let this person fall. It's your name behind it. It's your responsibility. So I think that was the biggest chunk of my life that SDA took out of me. I don't think I should be saying that. It sounds terrible, but I think that spirit of volunteering is the essence, that you want to see growth,
Yes.
that you want to be there to save someone if anything happens, and you want to actually bring the level of professionalism and the work that drama educators do to a level of national and international recognition.
Yeah, and you're talking about international. SDEA is also a member of IDEA, which is the International Drama Educators Association.
That's right.
So it's like SDEA was formed and then became a member.
That's right. Because for IDEA, you have to be an organization to be part of that international organization. So you have the drama educators from Singapore, from Australia, and whatever countries being part of that international conversation. Yeah.
So this international organizations is actually a big umbrella
Correct.
of the different educators organizations in different countries.
In the world, that's right.
I mean, what you shared just now was actually very important, because, I mean, you said about volunteering, it takes up a lot. But of course, because volunteering is not just about coming in to move tables and chairs, or volunteering like 2 hours of my time. It's a lot more than that. It's a lot deeper, and the spirit of it is not just sacrificing like a few hours of your time. Yeah, it's more. So, but of course, this has already contributed a lot. I mean, in the industry, in this drama educators industry, like this is definitely a very great achievement already. But I think another part of Peggy that I'm very interested to know is I think a lot of our audience will be very interested to know. So your work with communities, because you work with not only the seniors or special needs, you work with very interesting communities like end of life. You work with the in the prison, and that has been the TAP program, the theatre
arts program.
Yes, the theatre arts program in prison. This is a very delicate group, very sensitive, very delicate group. I'm sure it is not easy to start. And what brings you the philosophy? How did you start it, and what makes you do this?
I think it just came about by accident, actually, because I think there's this big movement called the Yellow Ribbon Project.
Yes.
And it's an outreach program where the prisons actually wants to partner with employers, with the community, to help inmates who have just left prison to reintegrate into prison, to reintegrate into society.
Yeah.
So this big outreach program happened, I think, in 2006, 2007. And to make an impact at that time, they held big concerts. So the first one was just, celebrities performing with some inmates. For the second one, they wanted to go a bit wider. And they said, would you come on board and kind of write something for us and direct? And I said, yeah, sure, why not?
A play.
Why not?
Yeah.
But let me go in and see what they have to offer. So I went in, did a series of interviews, found out what they could do, wrote something, and then kind of presented it alongside, I presented it in such a way that inmates were performing alongside celebrities.
Oh.
So that was very interesting for people. So the celebrities were already a big draw for the audience.
Yes.
The inmates were an even bigger draw. And I said, okay, that is where you put in the important messages, eradicate assumptions of people eradicate assumptions that people have about inmates or ex-offenders. This is the place to do it. And so I structured stories around it, around 3 groups of people, and it just happened from then that my work started with prison. And I think from that concert, it struck me that so many lives changed. One such life was, I remember, one inmate that I was working with. He says, I don't think my father will come. Because we issued invitations for everyone, for the families to come. And he said, I don't think he will come. I said, never mind, we'll just leave it. If he doesn't come, I'm here. And his father came. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, because they just looked at each other, they embraced, and that was the start of a whole new beginning for them.
Whoa.
And I thought, okay, this is what I want to do.
Yes.
This is what I want to do. And to think, and for the public to actually see the families in the audience going forward on stage, calling the names of their loved ones, picking up their children and showing them, this is your child.
Yeah.
Moved them in so many ways and provided opportunities for understanding that inmates have families too.
Yeah.
They made a mistake. It could be circumstances. It could be bad influences. It could be a point in the time, a point in their lives that things were really difficult, that they made a mistake.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they can't love again, they can't live again, and they can't be part of us again. So that moved me, and I didn't know whether I could go into work with them again. But lo and behold, the prisons came and said, would you like to try out some programs? And I tried out a few programs, and then they came and said, would you like to try an even longer program with us? I said, yes, but having worked with inmates across the board, I want to develop something that includes everyone. When you go into a place when there are people who are very disadvantaged, you want to know where the starting point is. How far, you don't want to exclude them in any way. So what are the language skills? What are they able to do? How willing are they to learn something new? And I found all these things, what happened, how should I put it? And I found that inmates really wanted to learn. If given the chance, most of them wanted to do something different. They wanted to actually walk away, and they want to walk away from their old lives.
Yes.
So what I did was I provided a program that has many areas, so that if you have basic English understanding and you only have very, very elementary use of English, you'll be able to join us. If you have a physical disability, like for example, I've had students who've had strokes, and they were just put as part of the group, and they did the best they could. And people who just couldn't read and write, how could I include them?
Yes.
So I developed a program that had kind of 4 modules. One, of course, was drama. One was body percussion, which is you tap and clap and make rhythms with your body. Another one was movement, dance and movement. I don't want to call it dance because the male inmates would find it a bit like, oh, I can't dance, but more movement. And the last one actually was stage management and technical theatre. Very basic, because I wanted them to be able to find work in the industry. Because if you are 50, 60 years old and you've just left prison, you can't be an actor. That's for a fact. You have the young ones, beating you, the handsome ones, the brawny ones beating you. But you can be part of the arts. Making props.
Yep.
Rigging lights. Knowing what goes on backstage. You have a place there. And you can still be a part of the arts, because I think the arts, one thing I love about the arts, they don't care where you're from. As long as you get the job done and you do it right, and you don't hurt anyone, you're very welcome. That's why I love the arts. And so those were the 4 things. But my work with the theatre arts program has grown, because apart from the skills training and all that, other institutions in prisons have approached me. So I've worked with youths. I've worked with female offenders. I've recently worked with violent crime inmates. And very soon I hope to work with inmates with mobility issues, the ones with chronic illnesses. So the ones who are bedridden, who can't move much. I want to start a program for them so that their voices are heard, they're motivated to do something new, to learn, and just to be happy. I think everyone deserves to be happy, and arts provides that kind of joy, because especially for drama, you don't need anything special. I just need you. I just need you to be there, to be present, to share something with me about yourself, and I'll create something. I don't need you to learn how to know how to read music, to move across the floor beautifully, or to pick up a brush. I just need you to be you.
Oh, that is definitely something very noble, if I could say that. It's like definitely because you really want to do something for them, and you use like what you can give me. I'm not putting things on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot. But one thing about arts, like even for the same, like previously when I mentioned about SDEA, is people to take over when you intend to retire, or
Exactly.
who is going to, it is still going on, this TAP program, the theatre arts program with the prison, but who is going to succeed?
I've been looking for years, but I haven't found the right person yet, because I think that intention has to be right. It's about them.
Yes.
And you have to be flexible to know that with each group it's going to be different. And so with the difference, what are you going to bring to them, and what are you going to take out from them that can be used? I think that's very important. So how do I pass that knowledge on? I don't know. Unless someone says, I really want to follow you and, understand what you do. But I haven't, like I said, as yet found anyone with the right intentions. The only thing I can do is to document my work, to share it, and to slowly, I've been saying this for years, to put it down in a book. And I think I know why it's taking so long. It's because I've been thinking about it for so many years, and the work keeps changing. So with the change, I feel, I should write only about the theatre arts program. No, but I have to write about the violent crime. I have to write about the violent crime inmates. I have to write about the women. I have to write about, all the other inmates that come under, and how do you address each and every one of them? What are the pieces of art that could possibly come out of them after 8 to 10 sessions?
Yes.
8 to 10 sessions to come up with something that's completely unbelievably beautiful, that comes from them, and you just have to shape it with the correct music, the correct text, the correct messaging. It takes some kind of intuition.
Yes.
It's not a brag, but it has to, I don't know how to put it, that intention, that sense of aesthetic has to be there.
Yes.
It has to honor them, not you.
Yeah, that's why you have been really like saying a lot of times, like the intention has got to be right, because a lot of people, like we do know there are definitely a lot of people who are doing volunteer work to volunteer and do real work for the society, but there are a lot who wants it for fame, which is definitely not someone you are looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and this program has definitely, I'm sure it has very positive impact on this inmates. That's why it has been going on for so long. And I know your research was on what happens to them after they left prison, and what effects it has on them. Can you share a little bit more about that?
I think what's wonderful is that we keep in touch. There's always the wonderful, social media to find me and say, hey, I'm out. Do you want to have coffee? And all they want to say is, I'm doing well. Thank you very much. And it's strange because sometimes I don't recognize them, or sometimes I don't even know them, but they come up to me and say, and their opening line is always this: hello, ma'am.
Because they call you that.
And once I hear hello, ma'am, I say, hello. And then we just start a conversation. And then they'll say, yes, remember the time at Changi? I said, not really, but could you remind me?
Yeah.
And then they will say either, they've heard of me, or they've watched one of my shows in prison. So then it starts the conversation. And I always bid them well. And to know that they're doing well outside makes me so, so very happy. I think you asked me early on, the takeover. I think in my mind, I have a few people who I want to take over, and they all have been with me in prison. And these are the inmates who until today keep in touch with me and say they miss it, they want to contribute, they want to uphold the 5 core values that they've developed. One thing special about the Theatre Arts program is that we rely on 5 core values to drive the whole program. And they're not intimidating values. They're values that came from them, again, not from me. Values like discipline, teamwork, willingness to learn, commitment, respect. All these are things that they take home with them and they remember because we drill it. We really drill it in. And they come and they remember the core values and they want to give back. So if anything for the future, my hope is that someone or a group from the Theatre Arts program will be willing to actually run this program together with an artist. Because they have the core values, they know how to work with inmates, but they may not have the artistic practice.
Yes.
So it's for them to kind of look for the artist to be with them on this particular journey to help them along. That would be, I think, my ideal. And they don't have to work with one artist. If they're smart, they'll work with a variety, because I feel, even for me, I never work alone in prison. I will do the drama bit, but sometimes I will invite another artist to come along so that they know what to expect. It's not that I'm just exclusive to myself. I invite other artists in, and it's up to them to come back to me and say, hey, do you want to, explore this further? But a lot of them are silent, waiting for the, I hate to say this, the next paycheck. I don't know if they should go on or not, but they really do just, she pays me well, and so I'll say yes, and they just wait for it. So that intention is not right already. Don't put this in.
Edit this out.
But you know what I mean, right? They just go for the next paycheck.
Yeah.
So I've been waiting for people to come back to me to say, they want to deepen the experience. How about they would like to collaborate with me on certain things? I'll be very open to it. So that is how I would be able to pass something on.
Yeah, I think your next project might be like working with some past the participants from the TAB program and see whether you could bring out a group to continue.
See, they are now well on their ways with regular income. And being an artist, being a freelance independent person, right? Yes. Your paycheck is, I don't know where it's going to come.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't get paid for about 6 months because the program will last about 6 months, and then after 6 months you get paid.
Oh, okay.
So who's going to wait that long? So unless you got cash flow, to be able to pay the artist first and then pay yourself later on, then you can make a living.
So I think, what you have been doing has got very, 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 very positive impact to the society, and especially your use of dramatic arts in the society is not just to put out beautiful plays. Is a lot that has very good effects on people's life. So, other than this work, another thing that I would like to touch on would be applied drama. So I think at the very beginning we briefly mentioned about corporates industry. You definitely have done some work with corporates workshops with them, and this is something that we really want to work on, especially with the NCC. We are one of our value, and one of the things that motive that we want to do this is also to bridge corporates and the arts, and we believe that the arts can do a lot for the corporate world. But a lot of conventional corporate, they are like, no, I don't know what is it about. There's no guarantee. Like, how do you go about, and how do you educate, and how do we let corporate people understand the value of arts?
I think the value of art is intrinsic. It moves you here in the heart and in the soul and in the mind more than anything. In corporate work, there are 2 kinds. Okay, one is direct art. That means I want this piece of work done. It could be something on the wall that you go in and you see, okay, that's the piece
commissioned
of art.
work.
Commissioned work. I've done things that, let's do a dinner and dance, include everyone in the artistic process. Everyone bonds over that. I had one client who said, I wanted to write a musical on logistics. And I'm like, okay, sure, give me the material. And so I did this 20-minute musical, and the critic was, I want to sing in it. The CEO, the big boss, says, I want to sing in it. I said, sure, no problem. This is my favorite song. Okay, no problem. So what I did was I kind of created this musical about how the company came about, the heartwarming story about the father handing over leadership to the son, and the trials and tribulations of hard work, of wanting to make a difference in the industry and in his father's company, and the impact on his staff. So I remember one song that I composed. It was called Logistics Superhighway.
Logistics Superhighway.
Just a rock song that was Logistics Superhighway, and we were like pumping down the highway, with our logistics. It was really fun. And of course, then the boss finally came out and sang his one wonderful song. And everyone was like, oh, wow, it fits in so well. So again, when you create work and it's a direct piece of art, right, it has to make meaning to actually build up to that moment, that important thing that the client wants to say.
Yes.
Right? That holds value, that achieves his vision for the next 20 years. Yes. That's important, because watching and doing something affects your whole body. It's what you call embodiment of the art, right? When you are singing, when you are dancing, that one thing, it kind of creates kind of memories in your body that will trigger later on the good intentions, the good memories, the good messages in time to come. So for me, that's the bigger impact. That is already psychological, which is not my area, but that is the psychological effect of the arts. So that's direct art. The indirect one would be, let's do a workshop. I remember there was one company, I can't remember what it was. I think it was some kind of IT company, who came to me and said, I want to surprise my associates. They're coming from all over the world. We're going to end up here and you're going to give them an improvisational workshop. I said, okay, but what do you want to achieve? Cultural understanding. I said, okay, fine. So they went on this merry tour of Singapore, Chinatown, Little India, Arab Street, and then they ended up in the middle of the civic area, climbing up substation stairs, wooden staircase, and then suddenly I'm in this empty room and I say welcome. And then we did some improvisational exercises and then grouped them up. And then we kind of role played little scenes in their work that was representative of their countries. And then they understood, oh, this is the way you work with this culture and this culture and this culture. That was the understanding. But deeper than that, a lot of collaborations became deeper, understanding became deeper. I don't know what happened after that, because it was just a corporate job for the afternoon and it goes. But I think the impact that I saw when they left were the deep conversations and the friendships that they made over that one afternoon. And I think that is important.
Yes.
That is so important, because it paves the way, for all your other work that you do in an organization, especially a multinational one.
Yeah, and the kind of network that is like, it starts the bonding from there.
I heard, because I played a silly game, I heard that they were playing the same game on the bus all the way to the hotel. So that's fine.
Yeah, so this would be like some of the things that you would say that would actually be beneficial.
I think one of the things that happens within the workshop is a lot of empathy. And they bring back, I think we artists have a kind of pattern of speech, have a way of have a certain language. For example, a simple thing like, what do you think about this? How does it make you feel? Very familiar, right?
Yeah.
Or, what do you think he might say about this? This is all like, for them it's like, huh? You know, it's like, but it's such there's such simple sentences when offered in a way that is not intimidating, opens up a lot of conversation and brings down a lot of walls. Because suddenly the person who is way up higher than you and you are here suddenly asks you what you think of this in a very humane manner. And then that's where you start to open up slowly by slowly. And I think also for the artist, it's all about listening. And so when they pick up on the way you listen and the way you take the information and turn it around for the betterment of somebody else, they learn. The corporates, they're not dumb. They make millions of dollars. So what is this thing? What is this intrinsic value that an artist can bring to the boardroom? You know, that behavior that will open up conversations, that behavior that would bring people closer together, that empathy. Sometimes it's not even about speaking. It's just about sitting next to you and smiling and having the eye contact, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes as a leader, you don't have to talk. Let others talk.
You're very right. As a leader, you don't really have to talk sometimes. Let others talk. And this is actually like you're listening. That's very important. Yeah.
You're listening and thinking, okay, what safety net for this, and this?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Peggy,
You're most
for
welcome.
sharing like so many insights with us today. It's really, really very insightful for all of us. It's like a lot of information and a lot of things we could learn from you.
I think my parting shot would be artists have a certain value, and sometimes it's not for us to promote, but it's for others to see that value in us and see how that value adds to their value.
Yeah, definitely. All right, that's it for today's Sofa ChitChat, and thank you for all of you for staying with us today. And I'm sure all of you have learned a lot from Peggy, and she has definitely shared a lot. And if you are interested to see our other episodes, and you could just click on the content and our social media that's flashed on the screen right now. And once again, this is Jacklyn. Hope to see you again. Bye.